Hey everybody, it's Amy Halser back again and one of the Mirror Word chats. And I am joined by my new friend, Michelle Significant Hardisty. And I am so happy to have her on here. We are going to just do some chatting like we do in these talks. You know, Michelle is somebody that I have had the opportunity to actually probably first meet through Matt Spink's prayer party group, I
Mhm.
think is
Yeah.
probably the first. And then through being on the Mirror Word and the Bible studies, and then actually got to hang out a little bit in Destin when we had the last gathering in October of
Yeah.
2024. But I didn't have a ton of time with Michelle because Michelle is one of those people who is in the middle of everything in the best of ways. Like she is a helper, she gets right in there, she is organizing, coordinating, making sure everybody's got what they need. She is a like get in and get her done kind of a gal. And so I got thinking, I wanted to have her on here because if you guys keep up with many of the posts, you see that Michelle's got some amazing things that are happening in her life in the last several months. I mean, probably has always been going on, but it's
Yeah.
really been accelerating. So I'm here to chat with her a little bit. So grab your cuppa if you've got a cuppa. I got a cup of tea today. Grab your Joe, your water, your wine, your whatever you want. And we're gonna hang out for a little while. Okay, first and foremost, first question for you, Michelle. Tell us about significant on your name.
Ooh, okay. Yes. Wow, that's a pretty long story though, but I'll try and keep
Okay.
it short.
Okay.
A lot of my life, I was kind of told by other people that I'm not significant and I wasn't worth anything, and I kind of took that on as my identity for a while. And then, when I was 21, I went to South Africa on a mission trip, and there was a pastor there, and he was like, the Lord wants you to know that you are worth something, that you are significant. And I was like, okay. And he said, actually, I feel like the Lord is saying that you need to take on as your middle name the word significant. So you could be reminded every day of how significant you are, because this was the beginning of the ministry that the Lord was launching me into, that was going to bring great significance to people all across the world. So.
Oh my gosh. That is so beautiful. So did you like do that legally or did you just take it on?
No,
Doesn't
I've
matter.
just taken it on. Yeah, yeah, I've just taken it on. I looked into doing it legally, but there's a lot of trouble that came with that. Yeah, yeah, but like,
We don't
it was
need to.
like that's my identity on Facebook. It's my identity on social media. It's my identity in my email, and it's my identity in my heart, and that's all that really matters. So.
Well, absolutely. And that's why I'm like, I don't really even need to ask that because we're not subject the same to the earth's rules when we operate from another kingdom anyway.
Yeah,
Right? So it is your name. And I mean, we don't like anybody take that out of context like that. We don't have to follow rules. We're in the, we're
yeah.
here, we follow things, but you know what I mean? So, I mean, that's awesome. I'm so glad that I asked you that because it's, it really leads into some of the questions that I wanted to find out about you. But before we go into that, tell me how you connected with the mirror word and like why you love that. Tell us a little bit about the mirror for you.
So I met Francois, I don't know, quite a long time ago, I think. He used to come to the UK on a regular basis, with working with another ministry that I was involved with. And actually, the first time I met Francois, we were being hosted at a friend's house together, and they were unwell. So I kind of ended up hosting him because they didn't go to any of the conference or anything. The people were very sick, so I ended up hosting him and just spent some time with him. And I remember actually I got up pretty early in the morning and I made him breakfast, make sure he was getting back home, like getting to the airport in time. And like the whole time I avoided him the whole weekend for giving me a hug, because that was kind of a like just the father hug kind of model was a little bit difficult for me. And then he gave me a hug, and it was like the most beautiful thing ever. I felt like I really for the first time experience what the Father's love is, like Papa God's love. And then I kind of was beating myself up about it because I was like, why didn't I let him hug me like before that? Like I could have had this experience earlier, but it was all a part of God's timing, I think. So I kind of followed him for a little bit, and then during lockdown, I think was when the Mirror Bible study started. And I think I got an email from him or something talking about that, and I'm like, well, like lockdown in the UK was crazy, like we literally could not leave our houses or anything. So I'm like, okay, well, what good use to make of my time than to study the Bible with fellow family members across the world, So that's how I originally got into it. But it was like American time, so I was in the UK then, so it was like 3 to 4 in the morning, somewhere around there. So it meant like staying up all night and then attending that and then going to sleep and then not being able to sleep because I was so buzzed. I don't know about you, but after each like thing when everybody shares out in the breakout rooms and stuff, I go to bed buzzed and can't sleep for hours after that. So it was pretty,
Oh,
but I didn't have to be anywhere because it was lockdown. So yeah, it was great.
yeah. Oh, that's a great story. I didn't know that. Okay, that's really cool. I agree. Sometimes like and I like to go to bed kind of early, so the group starts at 8 p.m. for me. And
Mm-hmm.
then, if I don't get off until close to 10, and then yeah, if I stay in that follow-up group time, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. A lot of times I don't anymore because of that
Mm-hmm.
reason. I'm like, I think I'll watch the replay unless there's something I really need to share because same thing. I just am like, I can't go to sleep. It's like I just want to stay in that conversation, want to stay in that place. And in that place with the spirit, it's like Jesus doesn't want you to sleep. Trinity family doesn't want you to sleep. You're like, let's talk, let's play, let's laugh, let's heal. And it's like, ah.
Yeah.
So I hear you. That's amazing. I that the it's a very special book and it's a very special group of people that just allow this to grow and expand and bloom in our hearts and
Yeah.
come along. And it's so precious. So that's right. Um, so taking the mirror and the shift,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'm going to say the same thing. Had an opportunity of being with Francois and Lydia too. And so I know what his hugs are like. I know what that life-giving force is that does just emanate from him. And
Mm-hmm.
it's beautiful how you said that that shifted things, for you and to experience that. Um, but this word is something, we're getting the exposure in many different ways, whether it's the mirror, whether it's groups like Matt's, whether it's, so many. You mentioned that you get to like meet Robin Smith and some of these other people that we get to
Mm-hmm.
see the writings, we get to participate in that, be a part of that. Um, and it just starts to change everything, which right now you're kind of in that season of it is changing everything in you that
Mm-hmm.
now gets to pour forth. So tell us where are you now and what's the next thing on where'd you just come from? And then what's the next thing on the agenda? And we'll just cover that first.
Sure. So I'm currently based in Riverside, California, and I've been here for a few months, but I've done like a few trips away and then come back here. So it's kind of been my base for a few months. I was just in Tijuana, Mexico, and we did just a small team trip to Tijuana from Thursday to Sunday. So, but saw amazing things like healings, like youth prophesying for the first time. It was just amazing, so good. Like completely blew my mind to what I was expecting. God just did more. And that's something that the Lord's been talking to me about this year is like, okay, dream big, but it's not going to be big enough because I'm going to more than exceed it. And like it already has happened. Like last year, that already happened, and it just continues. So I'm heading to Alabama for an event with Robin Smith and Matt Spinks. Just a small week there, and then I'm actually heading to the Philippines with a really good friend of ours. And yeah, I'll be there for a week with a team of people, and then I'm actually going to continue to stay there because I have currently only bought a one-way ticket because that's how God works with me. Sometimes he tells me to buy a one-way ticket and then I stay in that country until he tells me to leave. So really excited about what's going to happen there because we have a week trip planned. And then what will happen after that? Like, we'll see. Only the Lord knows, you know. And then I'm going to a few more dangerous countries that I'd probably prefer not to actually specify, because this is going to be online. But yeah, the Lord is opening doors like around the world for me, you know. And then Brazil is an opportunity. So it's going to be a good 3, almost 4 months, I think, of traveling around the globe, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, that you said something that I feel like is the direction we need to go. When you're
Okay.
like, okay, like this is what he's doing in me. I bought a one-way ticket. This is where he's taking me now. And he does. So tell me when you do that, how explain that process of trust and how that has built, like what has established that in you that has made that okay for your heart to do?
Well, actually, it's kind of not the first time. So I first became a missionary when I was 15. So I've been traveling as a missionary for 21 years now. Gosh, that's crazy. That's a long time. And sometimes the Lord will give me like a clear plan of where I'm going, how long I'm staying for, what I'm doing. But sometimes he pulls on my faith a little bit more and says, "Okay, just buy a one-way ticket." And it's normally like I'm when I go to buy the ticket, I put the date in of like when I'm leaving. And then when you're supposed to put the date in of when you like return or like what you're doing next, I have no clue. So I'm like, okay, this is supposed to be an open end ticket then, you know. And I know for sure that I'm not going to be coming back to the US after the Philippines because I've just been ordained now and I'm going to collect my minister's visa, which will make it a lot more easier for me to get in and out of the US. But I'm unable to do that until 3 months' time from the UK is when my appointment is. So I'm like, okay, God, what are we doing for the next 3 months, you know? And that's kind of what I felt like the Lord was saying, you know, like there's several countries that I'm going to go to. I just don't know the period of time that I'll be at each country. And what I'll be doing in each country. I mean, I have a rough idea because I'm not going to dangerous countries, for an instance, with no connections. I have connections. There's people that I'll meet there and ministries I'll work with, but the time period, I don't know. And it's kind of scary because I do live by faith completely. I don't have a job, so I do provide, like God provides financially everything. So sometimes like when I go to a country and I buy a one-way ticket, I'm like, okay, God, you still need to provide the money for me to fly somewhere else, you know. But he always does, like without fail. I've never had a time where I've been stuck in a country not being able to go anywhere, you know. He always provides without fail. Like even sometimes through people who don't even know him yet, like, and they don't realize they're being used by God to provide for me, you know. So it's beautiful. Yeah.
Which, I mean, to me, that would be what provides the faith to continue doing.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
not
for
gonna
sure.
put you in a situation, make you painfully uncomfortable. I mean, okay, I shouldn't say not that we aren't gonna be uncomfortable, but is that what his faith
Yeah.
fuels that continuation of, like, the provision just continues.
Yeah.
And so, you mentioned earlier that when Francois offered up that hug, and that you kept avoiding because,
Hmm.
like, there was father things there, and now you are trusting your father
Yeah.
for a heck of a lot more than a hug,
Yes.
like, literally your lifeline. What's that journey been like to move into that space? When how yeah, can can you just expand on that a little, whatever you feel like you should?
Um, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, you know, like I never really enjoyed school or academics, and I always wondered like what is it that I'm supposed to do? And I'm actually the only one who currently knows the Lord within my family. So yeah, it's difficult. So yeah, just like relying on the Lord. And you know, like we as human mess up sometimes. So we can't always rely on people. But God is like a faithful God, and He has proven to me, not that He needs to prove to me, but He's shown me time
He
and time
was.
again that He does provide and that He has a plan for my life. And ever since I kind of took that commission of being a missionary for Him when I was 15, like my life has been an up and down roller coaster, but mostly great journeys and adventures. And I just feel like so blessed that the Lord has chosen to use me to be a missionary because I get to go on adventures with Trinity family, like to places that I would never even expected of going to, And just one thing specifically is the Lord has really begin to show me that if I go to a country that He's sending me to, which majority, I think most of the time I do, like He's going to protect me no matter what. Like in 2022, He sent me to Ukraine, and that was the scariest thing ever. I'm like, okay, am I hearing right now? Like, I don't know if I have faith to go into a war zone. But I was just visiting there. I wasn't even supposed to live there full time. I was with a organization in Romania, and we went to drop off some supplies in Ukraine. And while I was there, I just fell in love with the people instantly. I just felt like the compassion of the Father's heart for them, and was like, okay, I'm staying here. And I did. I ended up staying there and set up refugee camps, and the Lord protected me, like, and I'm like, and that's what really pushed me further into like having complete trust and faith in Him.
Mm.
Like if He can send me to a war zone and I still come home alive and well, mostly, then like I'll go anywhere. Like He'll protect me. He'll give me like everything that I need in provision, protection, and everything else. And when I first became a missionary, actually, real quick story. My prayer was, "Here I am, Lord, send me anywhere but Iraq." Because at that point, ISIS and all the kind of stuff was happening, and I'm like, "Okay, Lord, like I'll go anywhere in the world, just not Iraq." And then in 2021, guess where the Lord sent me? To Iraq. And it was always like, that's a place that I don't want to go to. But the minute that I stepped foot in Iraq, I fell in love with the people. I fell in love with the place. I wanted to move there full time. I'm like, okay, God, now I know your plan is bigger than my plan, even though sometimes He tells me to do things that might be uncomfortable or go to places that might be uncomfortable. Like, guaranteed, I fall in love with the people and the place there, and amazing things happens, like amazing things. So yeah, it's just a journey of trusting, and it's become easier and easier to trust Him because without fail, He's always provided, and I've always fallen in love with the place that He sent me to, or the people there, and even have constant connections with those people too. So yeah, hope
Well,
that
I
answers
can.
your question.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. And then yeah, I mean, if we had time, we'll do this when I see you next time in Florida, but to get more details on all the places you've been and the things you've
Hmm.
experienced. So when you're talking, Michelle, it's like just imagining how this mere word shift, when this came
Hmm.
about for you, has shifted that love, that compassion, that when
Yes.
when we see him through the lens of how he sees us, it for me it changes everything, whether I'm in another country or I'm just
Hmm.
right here talking to different people and doing what I do here. But it's as I begin to see how he sees me, truly see me, know it in my knower,
Yeah.
then it just naturally comes out and it makes all of those things easier. So do you
Hmm.
feel like the shift with this mirror word has shifted how you deal with where he's calling you? Because for one, I'm guessing you really know that first and foremost, he adores you, loves you, and he's putting you in these places because he knows where you've been in life, the things that make your heart so unique to you
Hmm.
that you have a gift to share, and he knows you want to see the world and do these things. And he's like, I got
Hmm.
some fun things. It's going to seem scary, but man, I'm going to take you for a joyride here on this earth like you have never imagined.
Yeah.
And that through this word where it's this divine embrace, it is this eloquence of love,
Hmm.
the language that Francois has been gifted to share, that gets to come out to people in other countries, you mentioned you're gonna preach at a Seventh-day Adventist church this weekend, all these different things, and now you're sharing a message differently. What's that journey been like from where you were before as a ministry, missionary, however you wanna call it, to where you are today in terms of efforting?
Well, I think like so the mirror would really like almost gave me a new set of glasses in the sense that I feel like I've been able to see myself the way that the Lord sends. Like Francois just simplifies the Bible. He simplifies everything. So it's like you see yourself the way that God sees you because you don't have these complicated words on how to explain things and what the context that the Bible was written in. And I think those set of new glasses that the Lord has given me has not only enabled me to see myself in a new light, I've am enabled to see other people in a new light. I feel like the Lord has given me the ability to see people the way that He sees them, and that's where the shift of heart compassion is, because the Lord loves every single person on this earth, and He has compassion for every single person, like every single person. And this was something that was recently mind-blowing for me because I was in Gaza recently working with some refugees there, and a bomb hit while we were there. That's a short story. And when I came out of it, to be honest with you, I had feelings almost towards Israel that I was like, oh, well, they're supposed to be, the chosen city or like the chosen land. And I'm like, God, how can you still love these people? Because I was in, Gaza when that happened. But instantly the Lord was like, I love you, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, so you love them, right? And I'm like, yeah. And like my heart just exploded for love for the people of Israel. Like it was like it wasn't a natural thing. It was totally a supernatural thing. And it's like not only is the mirror Bible like a mirror for us to see ourselves the way, I feel like it is like a mirror that is multi-dimensional, that allows us to see everyone around us through that mirror perspective of like how God sees them. So
Oh my gosh, I love that so much, and he gave you an experience of it, like crazy experience of it, and you're
yeah.
right in it. And so just this morning I was reading. Now granted, I was reading in the Passion, but I was reading Song of Songs, so I had to read it in the Passion. And and as I was doing that, so I have to tell this because it ties in
Mhm,
because in a very different way, but how he uses the word, whether you're using that and you're seeing it in the mirror,
mhm,
or I'm seeing it in some other things. I was reading and sensed I was to go read Song of Songs chapter 7, where he talks about uh you in your womb is birthing a harvest wheat, and the sons and daughters are
mhm.
drawn to the purity of your life in your heart, and da 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 da, and it's going on to this thing. And so, but I wanted my glasses off. I knew I needed my glasses off. So you talked about the lens in which we're seeing this through. And so if we see through the lens of his light, we see
Yeah.
clearly, because I'm almost 58 and I have been wearing readers since I was 40, right? And I don't want them. The life I live and the things I do and very active, I'm like, I don't want to wear glasses anymore.
Mhm.
And so I've been working on that. And he today was like, take them off. And I literally, as we were doing some things, not just that, like I had been in doing heart brain coherence, I'd been doing some breath, I'd been doing some things far more before I felt compelled to read that. Michelle, I read the entire chapter without my glasses on.
Yeah,
And
come
it
on.
took me almost 30 minutes because I'm like, there it would be clear and then it would be foggy and it would be, and he's speaking to me and training me as I read what makes it
Mm,
clear and what makes it foggy, and perception and thoughts and beliefs and all of these things. Crazy. I'm not wearing them now. I haven't had my glasses on all day and I need them in essence, but I don't need them. But the other thing that corresponded with this as I was done with that chapter, and I'm in a space with him, and he's talking to me about Yes, the mirror reflection, the mirror of how we see another. And of course, it's like when you see Christ in you, you're seeing what he sees about you
Yeah.
back. But he took me into another, as you talked about, multi-dimensional, because we want to be able to see people as he
Mm-hmm.
sees them. But he's like, I am not bound by time. Like you think you are. You think you're
Mm-hmm.
bound by time, but you're
Mm-hmm.
not bound by time because I'm in you. And so in this place, when I see you, meaning when Christ is looking at us, I see you as you were that little girl who or boy that knew me before the beginning of time. That time when your heart was so pure, so free. I see that. I
Yeah.
see you as you're speaking to me, and I see you as you are, but not the way just that you think. I truly see you as it is finished because I'm not bound by time. You keep thinking your destiny and all these things that you have to do to become that. He's like,
Mm.
it is finished. It's done. I literally see you as her. I can't not see you. And this is him talking to me. I can't not see you as I created you to be. And when you see you as her, as him,
Mm.
whoever, and then you begin to see that in every other person because it's literally not bound by time.
Go on.
It was like, he's just like, and as you behold this as in a mirror,
Mm.
they literally will walk into that, become that. You don't have to hold, you're not holding anyone to an expectation. It's just seeing what I see all the time. It was just incredible. So I like had this moment. Sorry, I'm like in a little preachy mode. I was just blown away by his
Wow.
so good. So you're whether we experience those with literally, wow, bombs in Gaza,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, open a heart for Israel,
Yeah.
or sitting on your fifth floor apartment, balcony in the word and being taken into ecstasy with him practically. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. It's like the revelation for everyone is the same, but the process is different. Like,
Yes. That is,
definitely.
and it's so
Yeah.
fun to journey with other people and get to chat because it becomes like me saying that's not to be like preachy. It's going, that's
Hmm.
instilling it deeper into my heart.
Yes. That's
Get
good.
to speak, share, and go, I didn't just experience that, read that. I get to live this with other people as we go about our walk here on the earth. It's so cool.
Yay. Yes.
Yay. So this is just such a lovely journey to see you on and unfold. And, you know, I don't know, we just all get to walk more and more into who we were created to be every day.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's just being in fellowship with each other, you know? And I think that's what I love, that you could be anywhere in the world and you can just jump on the Mirror Bible study and be in fellowship with others. It's something that's really happened for me, is that actually I know that it doesn't matter what country I'm in, it doesn't matter what time zone I'm in, that like I can fellowship with people. It makes me feel like I'm not doing this journey alone, but like you guys at the Mirror Bible are coming on this journey with me, you know. And that's beautiful because like knowing that, you know, sometimes like we're all human, like for me anyway, like I have these like, I don't know, emotional times, you know, you hear about a death in the family or something, and it can make you pretty upset or make you feel like you're alone. And just having this online community family to join with, you know, and just sending like, you know, just a quick message to the family saying, "Hey, I'm struggling," and just instantly people love on you. And it's like the connections. It's not just about reading the Bible together, which like is amazing, of course, but I feel like it's just the connections of experiencing what heaven is going to be like, because we are family together and there's no separation between us and there's no separation between us and God. So that's what I love as well about the gatherings for sure, is that I never feel alone anymore. Like I could be physically alone, but I know I'm not alone because I know there's a bunch of people all across the world praying for me and praying for my protection. But also just like that we'll celebrate the good times with you and we'll sit with you and be a shoulder to cry on in the not so great times, because we're all human and we still live a normal life. So, yeah, that's what I love to.
I love that, and that is exactly what we are created for.
Yeah.
And, we may have our communities in our towns or our family, or we may not.
Hmm.
And but this is where, like, when hearts are connected and we're awakening to this truth, this is where there's something deeper that it's it's a safe place. We're safe no matter what. When we
Yeah.
have this living water that's in us that we are
Yeah.
waking to realize that is there and it's for us, yet there's something to grow, to be reminded, be refreshed in like groups like this. So it's incredible. I
Yay.
love it. Yay. Michelle, this has been so great, to just hear some of your stories, your adventures that he's taken you on, how he's taken you
Mhm.
on it. I think it's really going to be a blessing. So thank you for hopping on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, y'all, we're going to call that a wrap. And it was just awesome. Thanks for listening and hopping on here. Just keep joining us and grab a cuppa and join the chat. We'll talk to you guys later.